Hi, I'm Damo. I work at Airborne kitesurfing in Osborne Park. I grew up sailing, living in Darwin at the local yacht club, and yeah, just sailing was my life, and progressed through sailing from one type of boat to another that was going faster and faster all the time. Each time I changed classes, and progressed from sailing into windsurfing, which once again was just going faster. And so I went to the UK to study at the United Kingdom Sailing Academy in sailing and windsurfing and kayaking and a whole bunch of other different water sports. And from there came across kitesurfing for the first time, and it was way quicker than windsurfing or sailing, and so just naturally progressed into kiting, and yeah, just haven't looked back. Perth it's a world-class location, and we get really good conditions and lots of natural talent. Heaps of local guys ripping, and heaps of guys coming from overseas that teach us some new tricks and show us some new moves and whatnot every summer, which is really good. Air Rush has been around for quite a long time now. They were one of the original kite surfing brands. They were into the game pretty early on. And they actually do most of their R&D work here in Perth. They've got a warehouse just up the road from us here where they do a lot of their product testing and design work and whatnot. So it's really good being able to see the different gear develop as it's happening and whatnot. So you'd be quite surprised how many really good kites get made each year that never come to market because they just, they don't fit into the lineup or whatnot. And being in a position where you get the chance to see all that stuff and try it and the new boards and whatnot, it's quite an advantage and pretty exciting stuff if you're into it. Because of the conditions that we get here in Perth, with the consistency of the wind and the varying wind as well, having light wind and really strong wind and flat water and big waves and everything in between, it's given the local guys the opportunity to go out and train and practice a lot more than other places around the country. The guys on the East Coast are probably getting a bit more exposure and sponsorship and whatnot because there's more shops, and that's where the magazines and stuff are based, so they get a lot more exposure through them. But hands down, everybody that kites knows the best riders are here in WA, and we just get the best conditions. And we actually get a lot of people, a lot of pro riders that come here in their off season to train, and the fact those guys could go anywhere in the world and they choose to come here to Perth sort of says it all, really. There's two professional tours in kite surfing at the moment. They both call themselves the World Tour. There's the PKRA and the KPWT. The PKRA is probably the more high-end tour. It gets a lot more exposure, and the level of riding on the PKRA seems to be a lot higher than it is on the KPWT. We get a lot of the PKRA guys coming here to train and practice. And it's seeing those guys ride, it's at a whole different level. It's like, watching an old granny driving a car and then Michael Schumacher screaming past it. Similar sort of thing on the water. The current world champion at the moment is an Aussie guy, a 20-year-old from Queensland, I think it is. Young guy called Andy Yates, and really nice bloke, absolutely rips. Guys come to here to Perth the last couple of seasons. It's got everything. In WA, there's a couple of young grommets that are coming up and showing some real potential, like 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds. And they're already schooling the older guys that have been out there riding for nearly as long as these kids have been alive. And the rate the kids learn to kite at, they've just got no fear, and they just go hard every time they hit the water, and their brain's like a sponge and they just soak it all up and just learn really quickly. And there's a couple of guys. There's young Billy Hampton down at Augusta, Simon Witcherman here in Perth. He went to a couple of the Pro Tour events last year and did quite well. probably got one of the best wipeouts that the PKRA's ever seen, with his kite loop front mob and landed in about half a foot of water, which is, yeah, he still whinges about it. At the moment, probably the biggest growing side of the sport in like the Perth metro area, there's a lot of guys getting onto what they call the downwinders, where they'll launch at like City or Floreat Beach and go all the way down to Scarborough, Trigg area. So you just meet up with a mate, you park one car downwind, one car up the other end of the beach and kite down, pick the other car back up and then off you go. And it's not a really extreme sort of adrenaline side of the sport. It's more just to, get out after work and, switch off after work sort of thing and, have a cruisy sort of kite. Because the surf here in summer, you get a little bit of wave around, but it's pretty dismal at best. But with a kite, you can hit one section, get past the closeout whitewater, and then hit the next section or the next wave and keep going. And so that's quite appealing for the guys doing the after work downwind runs. And that's something I can see taking off a lot more. Like as the sport ages and it's been around for longer, the gear is evolving quite a lot, and as the gear changes, it changes what we can do out in the water. And then, as you're seeing new potential or whatnot, that gives you ideas of other stuff that you can do. But it's more not so much changing what you do on the water, it's more adding water time. So things like the new course racing boards, they can get out in really, really light wind, and you can go fast enough to scare yourself on days where, even 2 years ago, the gear wasn't efficient enough to let you get out in that much wind. And now you can not only get out, but you can get out and scare yourself senseless for going that quick. Getting into kite surfing at the moment is so much easier and safer and quicker than what it was just a couple of years ago, with the advancement in all the equipment, and particularly the kites and the safety side of it. The kites are more powerful than they used to be, but also more controllable. So you can, it's so much easier and safer to fly the kite than it ever has been before. Having said that, it is still dangerous, and people do get hurt kite surfing. And kite surfing is 99% kite flying, like 1% board riding. So if you want to get into it, you have to get to know the kite. Otherwise, you'd not only risk hurting yourself, but half a dozen people on the beach as well. So if you want to get into kite surfing, get your hands on a trainer kite. A lot of places do like buyback deals, so you don't actually have to purchase a kite. It doesn't actually cost you anything in the long run, but you really want to get your hands on it, get to know the kite, and then get some lessons. The lessons, not so much necessary for the skill side of it, because it's pretty simple. Pull left, the kite goes left, pull right, the kite goes right. But you need the lessons for the safety side of it, to pick up the information of what to do when it goes wrong and how to stop it going wrong in the first place.